positive.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
I know you enjoy your flight day.
Yeah, sure.
So it's not bad.
Yeah, so how is Bridge? How is Bridge Liberia?
Bridge is doing phenomenally well.
Okay.
We've been blessed, my brother. No lies. And first and foremost, we thank God first, but want to give high praises and thanks to the strong leadership at the Ministry of Education.
Okay.
You know, Bakube made good decisions when he made appointments at the Ministry of Education. So, under the astute leadership of Honorable Prof. Soni and his team of deputies, as well as all the assistant ministers and directors, civil service there, we've had a phenomenal relationship. You know, that's my home.
Okay.
I formerly served as deputy minister and assistant minister, and as well as one of the advisors there. So, that's my family people.
Okay, so you want us backtrack a little bit by giving us some history of Bridge Liberia?
So, Bridge is within the Ministry of Education's LEAP program. That's Liberia Education Advancement Program. A program that started way back in 2016. So, it's not something new. It's been here through and through, right at the end of the Ebola crisis.
Okay.
The government of Liberia was looking for partners to come in and help accelerate learning outcomes. Because, you know, we lost almost a year and a half. Our children were out of school. So we looked around. At that time, I was just a young assistant minister. Very young and handsome.
Okay.
Virile. Those were the days. But during that time, different partners came in. Bridge was actually on the vanguard, the first partner to come in. Then others came in, and we started the program with 8 people. It was called Partnership Schools at Liberia at that time. After a lot of back and forth with the different civil society organizations and other groups, we came to understanding and that we all wanted to work together to move the sector forward. Currently, LEAP is, you know, one of the standard strong programs of the ministry. Almost 100,000 students are served on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
In 323 schools total. Bridge constituted more than half of that. We have 171 at the time.
Okay.
We provide everything from books. We do teacher stipends for volunteer teachers. We've done minor renovations, though that's ministry responsibility. It's part of our corporate social responsibility.
Okay.
We also do enough training. We do training. And what Bridge is popular for, we use technology in our classrooms so that every teacher has a teaching tablet,
Okay.
a tool that they use to complement the Liberian curriculum. So you have a bunch of books, then you read out of the tablet. If your tablet goes down, you have the books that we provide as well.
So funding for all these undertakings at the time came from where?
Philanthropic funding. So let me break down what that means. So our arrangement in Liberia, when we did the understanding, at that time I was working in government. We knew that we couldn't charge the Liberian parents anything. So you hear rumors, they say Bridge does privatization, LEAP does privatization, commercialization. Look at the definition of what that means. The parents don't pay. The government of Liberia doesn't pay. Now we have an arrangement eventually. Costs will be transitioned to government. But at current, all the money is raised internationally from philanthropy. So no Liberian parent, you can't bring me one. I'll change my name if they say they ever pay $1 to Bridge or any of the LEAP people.
So what was the essence of the Ministry of Education bringing you on board to better the education sector?
Well, I was brought on board by Her Excellency, Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. I was a political appointee, right?
No, I'm talking about Bridge.
Okay, let me explain. Okay, so I transitioned. I put in my resignation letter last year in December.
Okay.
But I went to Prof. Soni humbly and asked him for his blessing. So I applied like everybody else. It was a merit-based recruitment. It wasn't an appointment. This is one of ministry's partners, but they allow people to operate in the sector. Similar, USAID has this Read Liberia program and AQE, these type of big programs. When they put out their recruitment, anybody could apply. So I competed with people all over the world. But you know, Liberians are smart.
Okay.
So by God's grace, I made it through.
Okay. So 2016 up to now has been 5 years. What can you say about the assessment of the entire education sector, from the common challenges to, you know, the potentials that we can tap in, you know, to better it? What can you say about your own independent assessment?
Okay. So my brother, let me give you an analogy. For me, I'm a big Lionel Messi fan. To me, he's one of the greatest, if not the greatest. He just transferred to PSG. So now that's my new favorite team. But if you look at it, like I say, holistically, those who ever actually played football, like our president Gbovadeh, who was one of the greatest of all time, Ballon d'Or winner. He knows the difference between somebody that play on the pitch than to somebody who's sitting in the stand. The education sector, for me who actually been on the pitch, in the position to make policy decisions, is doing really, really well. We're moving in the right direction. Notwithstanding, there's several problems. All Liberians know that. But government alone can't fix all the problems. And this is the wisdom that the current minister...
You care to tell us some of the
No, I can break it down. But what I was saying, and I'll land and I'll go into your question more deeply, the wisdom that this minister and the former minister had under the leadership of the presidents of that time was that in order for us to solve a lot of these problems, we need some kind of help from partners who are willing to help tackle the real enemy. The real enemy is not privatization or PPPs or anything like that. The real enemy is illiteracy. We want to make sure we have productive citizens that can contribute to developmental efforts in Liberia. So, when you talk about the challenges, one, we need more infrastructure. Teachers need to be trained and build the capacity.
I mean, these are challenges before and still exist today.
This challenge, my brother, we suffered a very long civil war. We started making huge, tremendous gains. We had setbacks because of Ebola. That was a regional thing. Then in trying to make transition and work the right way under our democracy, last year we had the coronavirus that came in suspended lifestyle. We're on our third wave now. So Liberia has been through a lot. Rome and the Great Pyramids of Egypt wasn't built overnight. It took time before you build great civilization. So Liberian people need to know when you're bringing in help, it's going to take time to solve these age-old problems. We don't have enough resources in the sector. That's first and foremost. If we had the money the sector deserved, Liberia would be flying. Because children here are very smart. Some of the smartest in the world. They just don't have the opportunity. You understand, my brother? So this is why when you invite foreign partners to come, they come with resources. Bridge is an implementing partner. We're not a donor, but we can bring in people to say, let's help the Liberian sector, raising plenty of money. Bridge has raised money with partners that we know to the sector, contributing in real dollars. This is something that some of our opponents can't speak to. We don't know what money goes through their hands, but we know what we've contributed. And it's real life things that are tangible that Liberian people can speak to. Facts.
Okay, so what can you say about so far the progress of schools you've worked with? You talked about training of teachers, providing them the technology, the equipment. When you do that, does that yield any results?
Tangible results. For those young people listening who are heavy into data, statistics, and analysis, they know what I'm talking about. Bridge went through a world-class RCT with something called a random control trial. For all the big data people, they know what that means in their language. It means that an independent institution came and assessed our students on the ground. And what they learned is that students in our schools perform 2.5 times better than students in regular schools. Government Liberia didn't say that. Bridge didn't say that. An independent institution, Center for Global Development, did that study after 3 years, and these were the facts that they gave to the world. It was big. I presented on behalf of Minister Soni in the Ministry of Education / Government of Liberia, and in London last year, last year was Ebola, Corona year, in 2019, they flew us out, wine and dine us. We went and spoke in front of the top researchers in the world and gave the facts to the world. The RCT is clear. It was published, and it's in all educational journals all around the world. And it proves that the program works. Children have gotten significantly smarter based on all measurements. These are facts.
In Bridge schools?
In Bridge schools.
So
Bridge Liberia schools.
Yeah. How are your schools selected to be part of, to be under Bridge?
It's under the divine discretion of the Ministry of Education. So they make the decision on where they want partners to work. We just allow them, we don't allow ministry to do anything, but ministry makes the decision. We just let them know what services we can provide. Our tablets require 2G network, which is basic, right? So almost everywhere in Liberia has 2G, but we have some blank spots. So we let them know it would be easier for us to serve in the area with at least 2G. We're on 4G now, so you can just see the technology doesn't require too much. Notwithstanding, even in an area with no internet, you can take your tablet somewhere else and it will, what we call, sync up later. So you can get all the information at another place. So we provide transportation for people to go to and fro. Just like your phone. When you don't have network, you turn your phone on later. When you put on the dollar, you get all your old messages, right? Same type of technology.
So I'm concerned. Are your schools a combination of both private and public schools?
Only public, because we partner with the government. Yeah, only public.
Okay. And are they mostly the urban areas?
No. Mostly in the rural areas. Okay. The reason why, not to say urban areas don't need help and don't have challenges, but we know the reality. Like Monrovia is not Liberia. We have that saying here. The majority of the population lives outside of the capital. That's our statistics, right? If 2 million people live in Monrovia and we have 4.5 million, where everybody else live? So the greatest amount of Liberians, as far as numbers, live in the rural area. They don't live like the people in the capital. And that's where the biggest needs are. That's where people are really marginalized and the suffering is. So majority of the schools are in the rural area, in areas that some people don't want to go to and would not be able to live. Those who are comfortable with Monrovia life, So this is where our work is. Our real work is in the field.
And giving Liberia's own challenge of roads, does that impede, your work in any way?
No, it doesn't. Roads that's a national problem. So that is something that if the roads continue to be built by President Weir and his team, then it benefits all Liberians and our partners. Okay. But when it comes to education is not only the biggest sector governmentally. I'm talking about ministries, agencies, and commissions. It also is the most decentralized. I like to use the word devolution, but we use decentralized in Liberia. And which means that any corner you go, you climb the mountain, in the valley, across the river, you see some kind of structure of a school, police situation, or clinic situation. But schools are the most prevalent. So we know across that Moa River, there's people there. They need education like everybody else. Okay. Across, way up the mountain, we have some structure because Liberians think education is very important. So we know even if government doesn't have a structure, some good people will put together resources and build a makeshift structure to service our children. So education is really widespread.
Let's talk primary education. What's your overall perspective of primary education in Liberia?
It's the bedrock, right? So at those ages, children learn the most that they will learn in their entire lives at the earlier stages, right? Between the baby ages up to the early childhood ages. So it's essential that Liberians invest in the area that will get the greatest gains and returns. We all build, and that's the beauty of living in Liberia. You're able to build your own houses. I live in the States sometimes. To build a house from scratch, you got to be like a millionaire. But here, you build. You buy your own materials. You hire your own contractor. What is the most important part of the house? Is it not the foundation? Without a strong foundation, the house can't stand. They said that in the Bible, right? So the idea is the government of Liberia invested heavily. The lion's share of the resources raised internationally are going to primary education. It's because we know if we strengthen that foundational area, tomorrow they will have the skill sets needed to excel in their lives. So primary education is essential. We need way more resources invested domestically and internationally, and we need to take education serious as Liberian people. Because if we think that education stops when our child leaves the school, that's the number one problem. I'm heavily invested in everything all my children learn. And they're all in school here, by the way.
With that being said, as a fact, so when you work with your schools, do you place more emphasis at the primary level? Oh,
good question. And I should have provided that clarity earlier. Bridge only, and all the lead providers, I think with the exception of one, operate only in primary. Okay. So we go from the what they call ECE level, early childhood education. Yeah. So that small children era up to 6th grade. And that's our limitation. And that's our focus. If you want to do all, you're going to lose all. So we have our key focus. That's our area. We help to manage schools. We train teachers. We have our terms of reference, the TRR, and we abide by that under the guidance of the Ministry of Education.
Okay, so is the Ministry of Education still supportive of the Bridge, Liberia?
I believe the ministry is more supportive now than it's ever been, of not just Bridge, but the entire LEAP program. The Ministry of Education, and I can't speak on behalf of the ministers there, you know, I don't have that authority, but what I can say is we have received. I can only speak on what they've reciprocated to us. We have received, you know, enough support. You got to know the type of person Minister Sonny, and I'm very close to him. He's like a, you know, like a godfather to me. He's extremely wise, and he has more than 40 years of experience.
Because you have this partnership, Bridge, Ministry of Education. I mean, the relationship now.
Relationships are important.
It's distinguished. Between two professionals. You don't want to bring, you know, personal relationship into a professional.
I leverage my relationships like everybody else, my brother. I mean, it's the reality. In Liberia, about who know you, but aside from that, Prof. Sonny's a consummate professional. Okay. So even if I didn't know him, he looks at the merit of programs.
No, I do know. I mean,
yeah, he looks at the merit of programs. He has that history, and he has his record. He has what I consider one of the most ideal professional careers in Liberia. If somebody works that long in education and you become education minister, what's higher in the sector than that? So I do revere the old man, but what I can say aside from that is that he looks at the merit of programs. What is it doing? He looked at the RCT results and seen that children were learning before he makes decision on expansion and who to work with. And even some people were removed because they didn't perform. This is what it's about. Not all programs in Liberia are performing. Those are facts. And I had a conversation yesterday. Let me just digress for 1 minute, my brother. I beg you.
Go ahead.
I had a conversation with a colleague, and we were talking about international interventions. I'm about to say something very controversial, but it's okay. Liberia has gotten hundreds of millions invested from the international community into our education sector, correct? Over the last couple of years. Now, government is doing its part, and we get support, and programs are designed and given to us. But if our students take national exams and they don't do well, how then can you point to the Liberians and say they're not doing well, or the government and say they're not doing it well? Aren't the people who are providing the money as well as running programs, NGOs and such, multilaterals and such, aren't they accomplices to the problem? Aren't they contributing to the failure?
How?
Because they design initiatives and put in money, according to them, you know what I mean, that are meant to do what? Boost learning gains. So these exam scores should be increasing over the time if they invested the money that they said. Where's the tangible results? This is why I beat my chest when I talk about certain programs such as LEAP, because we have validated results that children have learned and are improving. Other programs do not. Where's the WIAC? Where's the WASC examinations nationwide? All the partners have contributed to where we're at. So it's their responsibility partially to help us get out of the situation. I feel that way.
But when these programs are designed and presented to, you know, let's say the government and stakeholders like the Minister of Education, isn't it the minister's responsibility to tell the partners, international partners that provide the money, that, you know, this particular program works well with us, this doesn't?
I believe this is what's doing now. I'm no longer a minister. I can speak when I was minister how it was. And I know that you get support based on alignment. So we tried our best to work together to align programs. And this is why we went a different route with LEAP, because at that time, PSL, was very foreign. It was very strange for the sector. So we couldn't get the typical institutional donors, what I call legacy donors, to support. So we had to go to philanthropy. Different people started pouring in money who'd never even been to Liberia before. So we were successful in that.
Okay, so you talked about your teachers coming to class with tablets and all these technology devices.
Mm-hmm.
Talk us through, let's say for example, the day-to-day activity of your teachers in the classroom. How do they come? How do they organize the classes?
Mm-hmm.
Just talk us through that.
So the difference in our classroom is the usage of technology. Okay. And the tool is used for so many things. But one thing is, it helps track attendance, right? So we have a huge absentee problem. That's teachers not showing up, ghost teachers in our system. And we have a lot of teachers that like to come late. Punctuality.
Are these teachers squarely employed with the Ministry of Education, or you hire them?
No, we don't hire anybody. The volunteers are
you just build a capacity.
Are people that are there, but we also work with government teachers. Okay. So both. We have a mixture. Okay. When the principal has a smartphone given to them by us, and it has our application on it. Everybody knows what apps are now. The application now, they come early in the morning. Their application is like the mother application. So all the teachers in a school, tablets are synced to that. So it shows what time the teachers arrive in the day. Once they come, it uploads all the lessons for that day, because we work on helping teachers prepare lesson planning. Very important technique. So in that, the teacher goes to class, first takes attendance of all the students, and then goes into the lesson. Me, you, if you had the app, I can stay right here at our office on 11th Street. Sit down, look at my tablet, I have one too, and see every teacher in the system, what they're teaching for the day at a time. I know when to go for lunch break. I know what time they make.
So you keep track of.
I keep track of all. I gotta, of course, not me myself, but I have a team. Okay. But I can check. Everything is centralized, so I can check. My comms director Melody can check. My school's director Karina can check. Everybody with the technology can check. Minister Sonny can check.
Why did you do that?
It's important. First thing, we know when the cat's away, the mice will play. One of the biggest challenges is not who's smart and who's not smart, but one of the biggest challenges we have, my brother, is indiscipline. Liberian people, we have to be honest with ourselves. We're too indisciplined. And this is why a lot of people don't reach their highest goals. And that has spilled over to the education sector. Many teachers, not all, majority do their job and do it very well. We're proud of our teachers. But there's a good amount that don't come to class all the time. We had a huge ghost problem. And government has been working over the years to fix it. You want to do one job here, one job here. You want to be working in private school, working in public school.
Or finding TAs around? You
want to be finding TAs to teach your class. We know the situation.
Okay, so what do you do when
but this monitoring help us know. Every teacher has the ID. We know what time you came. We know what time you left the class. We know if you left and went on holiday early. If you said, okay, flag day coming, Friday I'm gonna give or flag day was yesterday, day before yesterday. I'm gonna not come to work on Monday because I went up interior, so I can have Tuesday come back Wednesday. We know who did it, and we can report that to the Ministry of Education for immediate action. This is what's needed. We need to monitor and supervise.
Listen to you do that?
Well, the ministry is not listening to us. Ministry is listening to the policy.
Instruction.
Well, they go
recommendation.
Recommendation. I would say it like I want to show the respect, because the reality is we didn't make the policy. The policy, we met it. These policies, the civil service standing orders, all our teachers are civil servants. They know the law. They signed it. They took their oath. They abide by that. And this is the rules that ministry is upholding, along with the code of conduct, to make sure that people work their job as professionals and do what they sign up to do. Because if that teacher misses one day a week for 1 month, that's 4 instructional days. Somebody's child is sitting down in a classroom, no teacher, and they just playing and jumping around instead of learning for that day. When our neighbors next door are getting the full amount. So when our children stand next to the Ghanaian and the Nigerian and they're underperforming, these are some of the reasons. We can't start blaming everybody. It's not always government fault. Sometimes we are our own problem, Liberian people.
But let's face it, before we announce that we go to the to take course, let's face it, not all teachers or administrators or your principals are technologically fit to use your devices. What do you do?
We train them. For me, saying I'm limited is inexcusable in 2021. Let's be frank. You can learn anything if you put your mind to it, no matter your age. You can learn astrophysics by going on YouTube and watching some videos. It's not like how it used to be. Technology is our friend. I tell my dad this all the time. He's an old man. And I tell him, who I learned how to use my iPhone 11 from or whatever, I learned it from my little brother. My baby brother, who I used to change his diapers and flock when he was small. He taught me how to use the phone. I know how to do everything. He gave me a tutorial. So we do not only one teaching, but we do continuous professional development training for all of our teachers. We even do training for our parents. We have many PTA meetings on everything from how to use the device, pedagogy, subject-specific learning, training, safeguarding to make sure the schools are safe for the students. We go through everything to make sure that people are well equipped in the classrooms. Sometimes we need to have some of our bridge teachers who've been there for some years come and speak on the radio, my brother. You'll be amazed at how far people have gone using technology to better their career.
Have you experienced something like this, like one of your teachers or your principal saying, "Oh, my son or my daughter step on the tablet, it crash, it's not working." They're gonna simple things happen.
My dog ate the tablet. No, it happened.
So you have to start looking around and looking for another
replacement.
tablet to replace.
Yeah, I mean that's a challenge. I don't want to give too much unnecessary statistics, but it's a problem here. Breakage. Somebody give you something.
Or the water.
You didn't pay for it. Those tablets cost money. Please, I beg you, teachers, don't break them. We try our best to replace the tablet. We already budgeted for breakage. It's a smartphone. I dropped my phone a few months ago. It cracked the screen. I still hurt to this day. It happens. I paid plenty of money for the phone, and to fix the screen costs almost more than buying a new phone. So these things happen. But when it's ineffective, it hurts the teaching. So we have a system in place where we can replace the broken tablets once it's reported.
How quickly do you do that?
Usually within about a week and a half.
Okay. So if the teacher doesn't go to work for that week, you have no clue about.
No. They're going to work. They're going to work. The idea is
some teachers will stay away.
The thing about it is
because you're not keeping track anymore. Until you replace the tablet.
We have ways to keep track. And every school has one extra tablet there. And even if they don't have extra tablet, they can use the principal's phone or the principal's tablet.
But remember, the teacher too has the right to call it off.
Well,
right?
Then we're going into indiscipline again, right? We're going into sincerity. You sign up to be a teacher. Okay. Prof always said that teaching is one of two things that's actually a calling. You got people going into the life of religion, that's their calling. People going into the life of teaching, that's their calling. It's a sacrificial move. We know teachers don't get what they deserve from a financial point of view, but they're helping us raise our children. They're surrogate parents. Okay. If you don't want to teach, you're not forced to be there. If you want to turn it off and play games and trick people, then I don't even know if it's best for you to work in our system at all. You're not hurting us, you're hurting the students, and that's shameful.
Okay, well, if you just joined us, you're listening to the Super Morning Show on ELBC Radio. My guest is Mr. Gbovadeh Gbilia. He's the managing director of Bridge, Liberia. Very shortly, we will begin to take some calls from listeners. In terms of equipment like books, on the shelves of the libraries, the chalks, these basic equipment, the materials. Do you provide them?
Of course. You know, this is, and I thank you for asking that question.
So
Because this is
the
one of
burden
the.
from the Ministry of Education.
I wouldn't say we're taking burdens from ministry. What I would say is we supplying our communities and our schools with some necessary materials for us to have good learning. And what I would say is this. This is one of the misconceptions and propagandas that's pushed by institutions that don't like what the government is trying to do. They make it seem like we're just going there collecting plenty of money and misguiding the children and making it hard for teachers. False. What we're doing is not only providing excellent teaching and making sure children learn better, we're also providing a lot of supplies and materials that are lacking. Chalk, pencils, papers, books. If you go to any one of our schools, you go on the campus, sometimes they have the PTAs do well. Set up their own libraries. You see some of the books out. The children can go make selection and study. The teachers can take it home and go through the lesson better. It's there. And we just talked about the example of somebody said a child stepped on a tablet and broke, or the dog ate it, or they fell in the water. When that happens, and it does happen, too often for my comfort because we have to replace. But the teacher tablet, which is just a teaching tool, is aligned with the books in the curriculum. So they can always walk to the library, grab the book, the lesson for the day, and still teach the class the old school way.
But it's not all about the teachers. It's about the students who go in the library and read.
It's about the students. My brother, I went to school many different countries. Last experience was in the States. My mom didn't have the money when we was going to school, my brother. But when grades came out, my white counterparts, my Asian counterparts, my brothers and friends from other countries, my grades was always topping. My records are clear. You go to Howard University, where I graduated from. I got my MBA. My picture is on the wall to this day. No lie. I excel in school. I used to book business. My mom used to flunk me for book business. So we took it serious. So any child that's in school, take it serious, make your parents proud. Tomorrow you can be a big man in society. So education is the key.
Yeah, how many schools you have under your control?
It's 171, and we have approximately 40,000 students that we teach on a day-to-day basis.
And how many teachers?
We have close to 1,000. Because the teachers are mixed. You have volunteer teachers who are there that we pay stipends to every month.
Okay.
If they meet our criteria. If you don't meet the criteria, you won't get the money.
Now, how much you pay them?
I don't know if I'm under the liberty to disclose that, but it's. I wish we could pay them more, but you have to know that Liberia has a system in place, and you don't want somebody who's not on the payroll to get equivalent to somebody who's a bona fide civil servant. So we cannot pay based on laws and rules, but we pay them a decent amount, more so than the other.
What motivates them?
Other Western names.
You pay them something that motivates them, like something.
Well, they. Money
down to discouraging them from getting involved into education malpractices.
That's a part of it. But when you say motivate, money doesn't motivate everybody. So sometimes people got need.
People appreciate.
No, I think all the teachers appreciate it. And you went to the key point. It's more of an appreciation because remember, our volunteer teachers, they're very noble people. They're serving a gap in the need where government cannot cover now. So many of the Honorable Kroger, he's from Nimba, I'm from Nimba as well. I know Kroger well. Was just on the radio. I can bet you if you call back Kroger and you talk to him, ask him how many teachers on a month-to-month basis he take money out of his own pocket and pay. You give up when you give you the real number. That's all people who are in leadership, not just the legislature. I was a minister. People who got big jobs. We're helping. The communities put together money to take care of some of these people, but it's not consistent, and that's not the way. So it's more of an encouragement for them to keep on teaching until the government can place these people. And government did well. Last year they retired almost 1,800 or something teachers, mostly elders who were put in for retirement. They finally got taken off and got some of their pension money. Government has placed hundreds of teachers on the payroll, including most of our volunteers. So it's a partnership through and through.
Okay, so just one more before we go to the lines. Are you entirely satisfied with the partnership with the Ministry of Education? Is there something that you're not happy with, and you want some amendments to the MOU, or you want to recommend to the Ministry or the government on this can be added to the MOU to help better the education sector?
Okay, I mean that's an excellent and complicated question, but once you find a satisfied man, you find a failure. I'm like never satisfied, but that's just me. And once you start being too happy and satisfied, you become complacent. So I always want more. Now, what more do I want? I want to get better training for our teachers. I want to provide more services for our students and our communities. I want to raise more money for the education sector. I've raised a lot of money. I'm former deputy minister of planning. Fundraising is under that portfolio. I raised millions of dollars, literally. Those are facts. So the reality is, I want more support for our Liberian children because they deserve the resources to make sure they have the education they deserve.
Who bears greater responsibility to get more support?
I think it's a unified effort. Government is the lead, right? That's the one who's on the vanguard in the face of all the people of Liberia. That's just how it works. But we all find ways to contribute. We are a partner, but we have our own connections. We have our own people we talk to in order to help this Liberian situation. Education is everybody's business. Coronavirus is everybody's business. Making the economy better, everybody's business. We need to start thinking government alone can fix it. That's not my philosophy. It's never been. Everybody is involved, even Liberians, especially Liberians in the diaspora. So what I would say is this. You asked about MOU. The MOU is a legal instrument. A lot of people have MOUs. The MOU doesn't mean you're going to do well or not. Me, I'm in the field. Like I said, I'm not somebody who was in the stands talking plenty or watching TV and say, oh, Renato missed a goal. That man should have went left. He went right. How he did it? No. I played the game before. So I know what it means to put the ball in the net. So at the end of the day, how is your performance? MOU, we don't need an MOU. That's a legal instrument. But you're talking about...
You got against it.
No, we got against it, but many people don't even abide by the MOUs. When you're getting assessed by the person you signed the MOU with, that's how you know how you did. What are your learning gains? We're about to have our students take the 3rd and 6th grade wide assessments that the ministry is conducting. This is the first time they've done this in years. It's a huge accomplishment. So I can guarantee when our children take that test, they're going to outperform majority of the students in the Republic of Liberia. I'm confident in that because we test them on a regular basis, my brother. And this is what it's all about.
So you don't really go by the curriculum. You do your testing regularly.
No, the everything we do is aligned to the curriculum. I was with Sis Madier, who's the director for curriculum, just yesterday, talking about the examination and how I want more of our students to take the test.
You make yours rigorous.
Well, with rigorous, and I think it's not just about rigorous. It's rigor, but also it's consistency. It's one of the keys to success. If you get consistent, rigorous training, you build. You keep lifting weights, you automatically get stronger, right? Okay. So we have our regimen in place.
So call us on 077-058-1886, 077-058-1886, 086-93-1744. Call us and be live on the Super Morning Show this morning. We're speaking with Mr. Gbovadeh Gbilia, sorry.
You said my name right 3 times, then you mess up on the line. Well, my brother, what's happening? Just call me Gigi. Everybody call me Gigi.
Yeah, Managing Director of British Liberia. Let's hear from this person. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's the name?
Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning. You live.
Hello.
You live.
Good morning.
Oh, call us on 077-058-1886, 077-058-1886. Let's hear from this person. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name?
Yes, I'm Lord Mental Gay and I call you from Riyadh.
Go ahead, Lord.